the Tuesday, July 29, 2025 meeting of the Hammond Advisory Board of Zoning Appeals. Can we stand for the pledge, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have a roll call, please.
Roger Pratt.
Here.
William Putnam.
Here.
Cynthia Hassel. Here. Dan Faulkner.
Here.
Kathleen Hill.
Present.
5 present. We have a quorum.
Next item on the agenda is the minutes for June 3rd, 2025. Did I get a copy of them? Any questions? Do we have a motion to accept? Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Could we have a roll call vote?
Roger Pratt.
Yes.
William Putnam.
Yes.
Cynthia Hassel.
Yes.
Dan Faulkner.
Yes.
Kathleen Hill.
Yes?
5 ayes, 0 nays. Motion passed.
All right, the next item is basically old business. Any old business to come before the board?
There
tonight?
is no old business.
All right, we will move into new business. First item is Z-25-07, petition of Mercantile Plaza LLC for a conditional use regarding Title Section 8.11, parens 5, to allow a drive-through facility at a restaurant located at 3514 169th Street in a C2 shopping center district in the city of Hammond. Have all the notification requirements been met?
Yes, they have.
Okay. Do we have a petitioner to come before us? Can you sign in and state your name?
Okay.
And tell us about 2507.
Okay, I think I'm all signed in. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening, Madam President and members of the BZA. My name is Jim Weiser. I'm an attorney with offices located at 429 West Lincoln Highway in Cherville. And I'm here tonight to represent the petitioner, Hammond Mercantile Plaza LLC, in 2 matters, and we'll address 25-07 first, the conditional use for a drive-through for a proposed restaurant. I will try to make this as brief and succinct as I possibly can, because we're fortunate enough to have your staff do the most thorough reports I'm used to in Lake County. I can guarantee you that, and we appreciate that. It makes it a lot easier for all of us. I just wanted to hit a couple of items on the background, and just to let you all know, and I think you've been brought up to date, but we initially started this process earlier this year, and we began by going to the Redevelopment Commission because of the location of this project being subject to their jurisdiction. So we went through their process and they approved it. And then that was followed up by us then proceeding to the Plan Commission for the subdivision approval. And that was obtained, I think it was in June. That was obtained in June. But now we're here for 2 matters before you, but this first one is for the drive-through window for the proposed restaurant. The entire project is approximately 12,000 square feet. It's the former bank that's located over in Briar East on 169th over near Hammond Morton. And the concept is for our client, if we're successful here, to demolish the existing building and replace it with a new structure, a modern structure that's intended to house a retail outlet, which is expected and will be a Dollar Tree, and then also about an 1,800 square foot restaurant. So this particular petition that we seek today, we did a lot of that work, quite frankly, was done at the Plan Commission level because there was a lane there. It was a drive-through for a bank, but it really wasn't up to code. It needed revision. It needed changes to be made in the engineering so that it would be suitable, more importantly, safe for folks to get through that drive-in window and to provide for the appropriate stacking and allow the cars to enter and exit in a very safe manner. So with the compliance with your code, there was a minimum of 8 vehicle stacking spaces provided on site for drive-throughs, and 4 of those would stack between where you make your order and payment and then where you ultimately pick up. There 4 of them are going to stack there, and we all felt, or our position was, we felt that was sufficient. But more importantly, I think a couple of matters. There are some agreements that apply, and you'll see that later on in the recommendations that were made by the staff that apply, some easement agreements that apply to this, that in the event we're successful and have these approved, those will have to be recorded and made part of this overall approval, and we certainly agree with that, and that's absolutely necessary and important, so that it allows safe exiting, for this purpose, safe exiting both to the west and to the east, and that's what will be provided for. It's our belief and our position that having made those types of accommodations, not only entered into those agreements and obtained them, but by reconfiguring the lane to meet the standards and to make sure that they would be able to get, as people were exiting out, either to go east or west depending on the situation and circumstances, because there's ingress and egress available on 169th for both of those purposes. So with having done that, we feel that we met the criteria not only of the state statute for conditional use, but also the criteria of the ordinances of the Hammond, and you'll note, and I know that the standards for granting that were, the 9 standards for that were listed in your packet. We provided findings of fact to demonstrate that those were, in fact, in our opinion, satisfied. And fortunately, in a couple of instances, those findings of fact were improved by your staff and made a little bit stronger, and again, that's greatly appreciated. So we were looking for approval of this, and I noticed in the staff recommendation they did recommend approval, and we're grateful for that, subject to your decision, but also including the conditions that were listed that I previously talked about in terms of the easement documents that are going to have to be recorded in conjunction with this. The parcel is obviously, as you could tell, not a large one. It's less than an acre. So in order to make that, and this will be my last thought on this, in order to make that drive-through work, it took a lot of planning and a little bit of creativity to get that to work, that it would be safe, since we don't have a whole lot of space to use. I wish we did. There's a whole lot of space there, but it's not necessarily available to us, although some people may take advantage of it, but that be something we could talk about in the next petition. So at this time, that's pretty much our presentation, and we're happy to answer any questions. I have here with me this evening from the petitioner from Hammond Mercantile Plaza, Andrea Ragona, who's sitting right there, and I'll save the introduction for the next person who will be commenting on the second petition. So with that, we're prepared to answer any questions that you may have. So thank you very much.
Does anyone have any questions?
I don't.
Staff members?
Mr. Weiser, could you?
Sure.
I think a lot of this was discussed at the Plan Commission, and I think for the benefit of those that are not Plan Commission members, at this point, you have not identified a specific tenant for that particular.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Brian. What?
At this point, you have not identified who the restaurant tenant is.
That's correct. We aren't sure, and we don't know yet who the tenant will be. That's correct.
Okay, and then, so some of the comments that I think staff-wise and then came through, I think, on the Plan Commission is the actual location of the pickup window may change because we don't know the configuration of the restaurant. Is that correct, or are you going to actually build, or when you build the building, is that location going to be put into the building, or are you going to wait till later
Okay.
when the restaurant tenant is decided?
Okay, I'm not sure I can answer. You probably know that, Andrea. Okay.
Hi, I'm Andrea Ragona. I'm the project manager for Hammond Mercantile Plaza LLC, owner, developer, and then future landlord of the building. No, our intention is to build the drive-through window as it's been shown on the plans.
Okay.
And we actually submitted plans to Bob Vale and Evelyn Taylor, so they do have our building plans. They've been submitted to Indianapolis. We received state release. So our construction drawings do show the window in the location that
Okay,
we've been.
all right,
Yeah.
I just wanted to have that
Yeah,
confirmed.
absolutely.
Okay.
You want to sign in,
Oh,
please?
sure.
Thank you.
So at this point, I mean, you're searching for a tenant, and you, obviously, you don't know yet, you're just,
Right, so typically what happens in many of our buildings that we construct is that we have an anchor tenant, and once we break ground and start construction, we then have renewed interest in the property. When somebody sees something's going on, they see this new building going up, it tends to lease pretty quickly. Since the pandemic, many of our tenants have been drive-through tenants, and being that that's the end cap of our building, we like to have that flexibility to be able to accommodate a drive-through tenant.
right, okay. And
Yeah.
so the board members should also understand that, the 8 parking spaces that has been discussed is based on quote-unquote worst-case scenario, meaning a restaurant drive-through as opposed to a bank drive-through or another drive-through, because those have lesser requirements. But it's worst-case scenario to make it available for the expected tenant.
Correct.
Any questions now? Okay,
I don't. All right, thanks.
we will open up for public comment. Anyone in the public like to come forward? Do we have anybody online that wants to speak or question? Apparently not. All right. We'll wait a few seconds and we'll see if there's anybody that would come forward. If not, we will close public comments. I think we answered the questions from Mr. Poland. And the board board members at this time have any questions?
No, I don't.
All right, we will move on, and could we have the staff report?
Yes,
No.
just staff has reviewed the petitioner's request and recommends that the BZA grant the conditional use should the board feel the petitioner has met the standards, subject to the condition of the recordation of the Hammond Briar East Mercantile Plaza, Addition City of Hammond, Indiana, and it to cross-access and sanitary sewer easements.
Are you able to hear Mr. Poland? Yes or no? Okay, all right. Go ahead, sorry.
I concluded my statements.
Oh, okay. You seem quieter than you. All right. We have the staff report with the recommendations. We also have proposed findings of fact that have been presented to us. Any probably have any questions, comments, additions, deletions that they would like to make?
I don't.
Board feel that all the requirements have been met? Somebody like to make a motion to adopt the staff report and the findings of fact and the recommendations and the proposed findings of fact into the record?
I'll make the motion to put the,
Do we have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second. Could we have a roll call vote?
Cynthia Hassel,
Yes.
Dan Faulkner,
Yes.
Roger Brown.
yes.
William Hutton.
Yes.
Kathleen Hill,
Yes?
5 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Are we ready to make a motion in regard to Z 2507 for the conditional use for the drive-through in C2 district?
I'll make a motion to approve as long as the petitioner follows the standards and the conditions provided in the staff report.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Could we have a roll call vote?
Cynthia Hassel.
Yes.
Dan Faulkner,
Yes.
Roger Brown,
Yes.
William Hutton,
Yes.
Kathleen Hill,
Yes?
5 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
All right. We will move on to Z-25-08, petition of Mercantile Plaza LLC for developmental variance regarding Title Section 20.44.08 to allow for a reduction of parking spaces located at 3514 169th Street in a C2 shopping center district in the city of Hammond. All notification requirements, have they been met?
Yes, they have.
Okay, we have the petitioner to come forward. And I think we know your name now.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President. Jim Weiser again as the attorney for this matter. One thing I thought about just at the outset that, and Andrea said something that reminded me about it, Hammond Mercantile Plaza is set up as this particular project. The company, the global company that includes Hammond Mercantile is a company that's done a lot of work in Lake County and well-known retail developer in Lake County for many years, has other facilities in Hammond, has facilities in a number of communities in Cherville, where my offices are located, and others. And I just want to let you know they're not strangers. They know our area, they know our community, and they know what works and what's successful and what's not. So I think that's just an important element and issue to include in the presentation. As I mentioned before, I was going to introduce the other member of our team here, and it's Jennifer Mitchell. And Jennifer is, and she can sign in while I blab away here. Jennifer is from BLA Inc., which is located in Itasca, Illinois, and she is with the company that did the assessment, the parking study that we have submitted to the city, and that you hopefully have had a chance to review, or certainly those relevant portions we included in our presentation. But she's here to answer any technical questions that you may have, or any questions at all relative to that study and its findings and its determination. So I'm going to chat for a minute and then I'll let you go. Thanks. Okay. So just to give you an overview as to this particular issue, parking, we knew from day one that parking was going to be an issue because of the configuration of the property and hoping that there might have been some possibility of getting maybe a little bit of cooperation from a neighbor relative to parking, and that didn't come to fruition. So it's a very small space, relatively speaking. But on the other hand, given the nature of the uses, especially the retail component of it, the Dollar Tree, we were confident that a parking study would support our contention that rather than having to provide the number of parking spaces required by the ordinance and the ordinances of the city, that we could and would apply for a variance, and and persuade you all that what we propose makes sense and works, and it just works on that site in terms of the total number of spaces that we're requesting, the 25 total spaces that we're requesting. So we filed the petition for a reduction in parking spaces, but that of course meant that it also altered the ratio of parking spaces, and we want you to understand we were cognizant of that. So we were proposing one space for, your ordinance requires one space for every 250 square feet of space in the construction, and we were proposing one parking space for every 750 square feet for the retail space, and one space for every 175, for the restaurant portion of it. And I know that could sound somewhat drastic and somewhat present quite a variance, but it makes sense. It makes sense on that parcel of property. So we commissioned a parking study, which was done by BLA, and Jennifer is here to answer any questions. And we provided some of the relevant information in our packet, primarily the tables that were contained, I think, on pages 2 and 3 of their report, that indicate the usage in peak hours and demonstrates how the usage in a retail space like Dollar Tree is so much less than is typically required, or at least is considered in your ordinance. And so we provided that demonstration. We also provided it for the restaurant, the proposed restaurant as well, and that it would, given the site configuration, it would work. It would provide the necessary parking spaces, or the parking spaces that were necessary, and were reasonable for this type of usage. If you'll notice, the report the staff report indicates, and one section I just somewhat highlighted it, that it said the projected peak parking demand was found to be in line with the 25 spaces provided on subject parcel, and that's really what I've been talking about. Your ordinance is a reasonable ordinance, don't get me wrong, for most retail uses, but these uses are of a nature that the parking is a lot more sporadic. It's less than you would normally expect because the uses are kind of in and out type of consumers that utilize it. It's not people that park there for an hour or an hour and a half or even a half hour, 45 minutes. There are people that usually know what they want, especially on the retail side, and they get in and out of these types of operations quickly and smoothly. And that was demonstrated by the parking study and the parking study that Jennifer was involved in, and the peak uses, the uses at peak time. So and I would point out one other thing that came out of the Plan Commission, because I think this is very relevant and very important as well. When you design I'm not an engineer, but when you design the space and take into account everything that had to be taken into account, the landscaping, the setback requirements, green space requirements, loading zone, everything that you had to take into consideration, the site plan maximized, given on that less than 1 acre, maximized the number of spaces that could be utilized. That's, I guess, what we believe helps support our claim that there's practical difficulties, as the statute and as your ordinances require, for the use of the property, given its size and limited ability to do that, and meeting all the requirements of the ordinances regarding the items I previously described. So having said that, we believe that knowing the criteria for a developmental standard is different than a criteria for the conditional use. We believe that we met the 3 criteria of the developmental standards, and particularly that one that refers to practical difficulties. That's always the tough one to satisfy. And we believe that our study demonstrated that, our plan, our subdivision plan, site plan, all support that. And as a result, we are requesting that this petition be approved and include that the recommendations of the staff that I'm sure that Mr. Poland will go over with you. And as I said before, we have Ms. Mitchell here, who's just dying to present to you. So she'll be able to answer any questions, should you have any, so, and get me off the hook. So thank you very much.
Would you like to come and tell us about your study and sign in for it?
Certainly. I signed in here. Yes, if you'd like to know about the study. So basically, we did start out the process by looking at the city code. And based on that code, it indicated that 49 parking spaces were needed for the site. Based on the land uses, which we know to be the Dollar Tree and a drive-through restaurant, we, through my professional opinion and history of 30-plus civil engineer, this seemed excessive for the land uses. So we went to what is called the parking manual for the Institute of Transportation Engineers. I just want to point out that this manual was recently updated in 2023, so it has more current data from national resources throughout the country. And so when we looked at detailed parking studies for these specific land uses, we found that a little more conservative analysis was prepared, and that 25 parking spaces would be required based on the land uses of restaurant with drive-through and the Dollar Tree store. Another consideration we looked at was the peak hour of usage. So there is a time frame throughout the day that you're not going to have all those cars at any one time. So we look at the peak usage of the restaurant, compare that to the peak usage of the retail, and then we add that together. And again, that came out to 24 cars for parking spaces. We did do a conservative analysis in that we did not utilize a coffee shop. A coffee shop would actually have an earlier peak time frame, so those peaks would not overlap. So we actually did do a conservative analysis on the peak hour analysis, as well as a conservative analysis in looking at the Dollar Tree in the sense that it's not a high-use variety of a peak demand. So we believe that we have a reasonable analysis here and that we would recommend the 25 parking spaces. Do you have any questions about what we did or why?
I have a question regarding the analysis. You said that during peak times, like the conservative analysis you made on a coffee shop. so to speak.
Yes.
So depending on what kind of a business, a restaurant you would have, do you think that will alter the peak time for the amount of spaces that you have?
It may alter the peak times, but then the parking demand is likely to go down for the reason that for coffee, and even then, I think 25 is still a conservative number because since COVID, the ability to pre-order, order and go in and pick up, or order and go through a drive-through and pick up has increased exponentially. So more current studies within the last year versus what has been used for parking has indicated that drive-through usage has gone up to 70% of their daily sales. So that is reducing your parking demand. And there's actually a quicker turnover, so there isn't a need for more parking spaces. Somebody's in and out right away. By the time somebody else is coming in, that parking space is emptied already. So the parking demand could actually go down.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
To be a bit of a devil's advocate on that point,
Yes.
this is anecdotal observation by one of our McDonald's. There's no question that at lunchtime that the double drive-through, and I don't remember how many spaces are at this particular one, but it's probably within the more than 25 spaces. It's always jammed full of people. There's always cars there. It's like you're waiting for someone to leave in order to park.
I can't explain that, so part of it has to do with, is it a standalone? I don't know the situation,
Yeah,
so I'm just throwing out
It's a standalone one.
theoretical points. Is it a standalone location?
Yes.
Is it, okay, well, do they have specials? Do they encourage, people to stay and,
No, not typically, but what, again, anecdotally, observation, I am seeing the delivery services. I forgot what, the one, like Deal Dash or whatever those things are. There's a
Right.
lot of that going on.
okay.
And they're coming in, and I think to your point is that they come in, they've already ordered the food, and already paid for it, they just need to get it.
Correct.
Yeah.
So part of it is it depends on, sometimes they set aside parking spaces specific to that use of coming in and getting it. So unfortunately, I don't know the situation, so it's hard for me to really give you a hard answer on that.
Okay. And then in your evaluation, and I read it and I don't remember all the details, so I'm going to kind of wing this question. You used examples of other similar operations?
We did not. We used the parking study or the parking generation from ITE. So we did not use other samples of other land uses, but based on our professional experience, we know that the 49 parking spaces for, like other studies that we've done for other locations, other cities and so forth, have not been in the 45, 49 parking space range. And so that's why we went back to ITE to do a comparison to your code and see what the differences were.
Is the IT ebook available online or however it means to get that?
It's not entirely available online. It's a manual that we have to pay lots of money for, so it's a resource. But you can ask any civil engineering firm that has access to it to share that information, and that's why we had included the pages from that book in our handout. So, and really, I think that's the difference, because I knew this question was going to come up, is why is there a difference between the code and versus the parking manual, right? I don't know the last time your code was updated, so I don't think it was done in the last 5-10 years. So, like I said, the update for the parking manual came in 2023. So these are the most recent national studies that are
Sure, and I know the
being
American
used.
Planning Association does their evaluations and recommendations too. And,
Right.
and you know, just again, observation, you know, our whole driving, parking usage has just changed. And, you know, yet maybe it is the pandemic, but I think it was already occurring before that. It's more of when internet sales really started to become much more popular. You know, a lot of times parking was based on Christmas.
Right.
You know, and we now know, even, we have a Food for Less grocery store, and I've never known that parking lot to be barely 50% used.
Right. And so the only way I can answer that is I wouldn't be surprised that if in the next 2 years you would see a lot more studies and information coming out, because COVID truly has had an impact on every motor vehicle activity that goes on. So the first thing is that there are more people that are working from home. So that means there are more people that are making midday trips that they weren't usually, going out for a coffee shop, going out for a sandwich, because they don't want to be in the house all the time. You know, those are their midday breaks that weren't normally going on, and maybe they're going more at 10 o'clock or 2 o'clock, when if you're in the office, you're really only going out at lunchtime. So
Right.
there was that midday break, okay? The other thing is that because people are working home, or they have more flexibility about being able to work from home on their own time, or continue working from home in the evening, hours are fluctuating, and so people are changing their daily usual routines. So when do I go grocery shopping? And then, even then, grocery shopping now, I can go and I can pick it up on my way home, because I don't even have to go in the store anymore. Somebody's picking it out for me. So our trips are actually more occurring throughout the day, the same number, but mostly in the afternoon to the evening time. So that is actually when you're seeing the flux of everything happening, is because that's when everybody's flexibility is going on. So I wouldn't be surprised if, like you said, you're seeing somewhere that, now there's more parking spaces. Well, that might be because of how we are working from home, or our flexibility to be able to work where and when has changed from when all those original studies happened.
Well, yeah, and that's why I said this started occurring before the pandemic, and that's where online sales
Right.
come in.
But it's like I said, most recently we've seen drive-through service uptick to 70% of their services now. So, that's happened in the last 3 years. So it didn't always used to be like that. So I think as things are still filtering out, we're still going to see some changes, and either people are going to keep doing what they're doing and it'll be this way, and we're going to see more studies showing these changes.
Yeah, not to extend this much more, because I do find the conversation fascinating, but it's you separated out coffee shops,
Yes.
because the reality is, just again, observation-wise, the most popular coffee shop, you have 12 cars in a drive-through lane, because you're waiting for them to make whatever those
Correct.
things are. And so the turnover is a little bit different than, I've already pre-ordered my burger and I can go just pick it up at the window. So there's a little bit more of a time in preparation.
There is, but then I think that is the reason why restaurants and services have changed that pre-order application. If you have the app, you can pre-order on the app and still go through the drive-through, and it's ready. So you're telling them when you're going to get there, or what time you're being told what time to pick it up. Even though you're in that drive-through, there's no making time. you're driving through that drive-through. So it's just the waiting time to get from point A to point B. So their service time is actually improved through the drive-throughs.
Okay. All right, great, thanks.
Sure.
Looking at the size of what is potentially as far as a drive-through restaurant, it doesn't look like there would be much room for like a McDonald's or anything like that in there. It
Correct.
would be
It's
very
a
small-
smaller fast food, right. You know, I mean, I could throw out a bunch of different things like perhaps a Chipotle or a sandwich shop, you know, something like that, so.
Well, and which means there's less indoor seating.
Right, also, you know, and basically, noting as far as in our report, that a cross-parking agreement was not available, and maybe there is still time to being able to park and meet with as far as whoever that would be needed to utilize more space in the other area. As a consumer, if I didn't find a parking space, I don't think I'd be arrested if I parked in O'Reilly Valley. I might be, but you never can tell.
Right. Very true.
Any other questions, comments?
I do. I have several, as a matter of fact.
Okay,
How many employees are
Go
going
ahead.
to be working in this building?
Based on the information we had available, we estimated 5.
So 5 employees plus the customer.
Correct.
Okay.
The parking ratios that we use from parking does include employee and customer as a combined number.
The other question, I just want to make sure I understand this. We're going from 1 parking space per 200 square feet to 1 parking space per 700 square feet.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
there's no question that it is a dramatic difference. And
Dramatic 300%.
yes, and the precedent of that dramatic of a change is not there. But, you know, they have presented a parking study, and this is the math calculation that balances out with that number.
I just wanted to make sure I understood that right. That's all. Thank you.
any other questions? Any other comments? We will open up for public comments. Anybody in the public or online that would like to speak at this time? Hearing none, we will close this period of public expression at this time. And we shall move on. All right. Members, any other questions or comments you'd like to make at this time?
I don't.
No.
All right, could we have our staff report for D-25:0-08?
Yeah, I think, you know, as I kind of alluded to, the parking study was very important background research for us. And the other factors that we looked at was the lack of ability of having a cross-parking agreement with the adjacent property owners. You know, our code, or our zoning ordinance allows us to count parking spaces within 300 feet. It's always predicated on the basis that they actually have permission to park on someone else's property. I think besides the legal part of whether or not you have a right to park on someone else's property, I think we all have to understand human nature has a tendency to park whatever is convenient to that person who is going into the store. And I'm sure, you know, once this building is constructed and are operational, I'm sure a lot of us are going to observe parking on the main shopping center parcel, and we're going to find people parking in the O'Reilly lot.
They might want to do their step.
Well, okay. I'm just saying. That's my prediction of what's going to happen because people are people.
Okay.
With that being said, I do have to make some technical corrections to the staff report. So on the,
Page what?
Hmm?
Page what?
as soon as I say it, I'll
Oh,
tell you.
okay. I'm just going to find the page.
Let me speak before you jump
Okay.
into it.
Go ahead.
Okay, so on page 1, under the petition, this would be under the 4th line, under the petition, starts out with the the word space / 250 square feet. The phrase we're adding is for the restaurant drive-through. That's what clarifying that reference. And on page 2, under analysis, 2nd line, starting with the SF, which is square footage, and it should say GFA, gross floor area, not L. That was just a typo. As far as the staff recommendation is concerned, staff has reviewed the petitioner's request and recommends that the BZA grant the developmental variance should the board feel the petitioner has met the standards, subject to the following conditions. 1, approval of BZA case number Z-25-07 and all its conditions. And 2, that no less than 25 parking spaces be provided on the subject property.
All right. Any questions or comments?
No, not for me.
We will have proposed findings of fact. Members have had a chance to look at them. Any changes, comments, additions, deletions?
I don't.
All right, hearing none, we will move as far as a motion to adopt the staff report as amended and changed, and the proposed finding facts, and the staff recommendations into the record.
I make a motion to accept the staff report with amended and changes, finding fact and staff recommendations.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Could we have a roll call vote?
Cynthia Hassel,
Yes?
Dan Faulkner,
Yes.
Roger Rott.
Yes.
William Hunt,
Yes.
Kathleen Hill.
Yes.
5 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Okay, we have now time for a motion in regard to Z-2508 for the reduction of the parking spaces. You want to take the motion?
I'll make the motion, subject to the conditions set forth in the staff report.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Could we have a roll call vote?
Cynthia Hassel,
Yes?
Dan Faulkner,
Yes.
Roger Rott.
Yes.
William Hunt.
Yes.
Kathleen Hill.
Yes?
5 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
All right,
Thank you very much.
all right.
You're welcome.
When you're ready to start, or what else do you have to go through? Nothing? You're finally done? Started this in January? I know a lot of people are looking forward to a new Dollar Tree. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for bearing with us. Good luck. Okay, any commissioners' comments? Any staff comments?
Yes, I think we should expect to have a very long meeting next month. I think are we at 4 or 5 cases, Tom?
I would say 5, but yeah.
Right. So we'll just have to try and keep everything moving as quickly as possible because it will be a long night.
Is it 5
Okay.
different cases or like different variances?
Different people, yeah.
Different people?
I might have a conflict.
Yeah, you know what?
What?
Again, sound. So your question was cases versus petitioners?
Yeah.
Yeah, because, some petitioners have 2, some petitioners have 1, but we actually have like 4 petitioners.
Thank you.
I do not know if I will be able to make that meeting.
Well, okay, again, if anybody is unable to make it, please let us know as quickly as possible so we can make adjustments if we have to.
right, public comment? Can we ask why he's sitting back there, or what? Okay. We have a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
There were motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Brian, I have a question. How many votes does it take to pass something?
Did we adjourn?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I kind of got lost. So you're asking a question